Hi, everyone. Welcome to the season premiere of Let's Chat with Tanya Lightborn. This is season 3. I cannot believe it. We've gotten to this milestone. Who knew that something birthed out of a pandemic would still be rocking and rolling a couple months later, like almost a year and a half later? I cannot believe it. It's amazing to be on this journey, and I'm super happy to be joined by actually all of my guests. But today's guest is none other than super mom, super mama, Janay Symonette. I'm so excited to have you here. Oh my goodness.
Ooh, congratulations.
Yay! I should clap too. Wait, congratulations. You're a mama.
I am thrown
I
into
mean,
the fire.
baptized by fire.
Oh yeah, fire is it?
I know, like this is the time you do it, or
You know,
that's it's
and
so
yeah,
amazing to have you.
exactly. It's so good to be here. Thanks for having me, Tanya.
Yeah. So, to all of my guests that are watching live or watching the replay, my name is Tanya Lightborn. If you've never heard of me in your life, I am a wife, I'm a mom of two, I'm a marketing maven, decided to jump off a cliff and follow my dreams and become an entrepreneur. And during the pandemic, I decided, this is such an uncertain time. If I'm feeling this way, then I'm sure other women and moms by extension feel the same. And so I thought, you know what? Why not go live? Why not talk to them? Because, they probably want to talk as well. So I thought to create community and just start a bit of a movement because we do it all, right? Moms do it all. And so I'd like to welcome my first guest for season 3, Janay Symonette, Minka's mama,
Mhm.
Kwaku's wife. I mean, how many titles do you have? She's also a speaker. You carry all the titles.
Yeah. I my passion really has been over the last couple of years business development, strategic development for fintech, for startups specifically,
Hmm.
really. And it's been a
Amazing.
really cool space to be in because I got to kind of think of how best to drive growth in
Yep.
what the times are now, right? Through a
Hmm.
pandemic, where everything
Hmm.
is online and technology is so prevalent. And how do you now drive even more automation, more convenience for the people that need to get things done? So um,
Yeah.
it's been really fulfilling for me.
Wow. I mean, you already like I'm already taking pointers from the way that you're even speaking. Your intonation is like perfect. Perfect. So tell us, who is Janae?
Yeah, so I'm a new mom, as you know. That's kind of the
Yay.
first place to start now, right?
Right, right.
Um, I recently gave birth to in the world of preemie land, a 25 weeker. Um,
Mm-hmm.
so and she has a fighter. She's been it's like in me now. I feel like I birthed a fighter. I'm a fighter too.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, so outside of that, everyone kind of knows me as this crazy lady that's always kind of talking all the time from my days at the stew.
Mm-hmm.
Being I'm all over the place really in terms of like my what I do and
Yeah.
kind of all over the place. But of course, my husband is Kwaku. We have a sign company, Sign Island, which is going
Yeah.
into its 5th year. And
Amazing.
we've been growing steadily and really getting a cool base of clients, and we're
Yeah.
super appreciative of that support. And yeah, I'm a friend, a daughter, the whole nine.
A wife, a mama,
Life, a mama. I got
godmother.
A what?
A godmother.
Oh, God. Yes, that's true. I like
Yeah, you're a
grandmother. I'm like,
godly.
my ear.
sometimes, sometimes you're consumed so much
Sometimes
with
I
your
feel like
life.
my grandmother. You're right. Yes.
That is funny. That's funny.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. All
But
right.
it's hard.
So,
It's hard to like describe you. A
yeah,
lot of times.
I
But
know.
um,
I
you know,
know.
I yeah, it is what it is, and
Yeah,
I like to now say, hey guys, I'm a mom. I'm a this and that.
I know. I know. Welcome to the Mile High Club. Again, you
Yeah.
guys are totally welcome. So, tell us a little bit about your upbringing. Like, what was your childhood like?
So I'm a complete daddy's girl, right? So my entire childhood was kind of following my daddy everywhere he
Mm,
went, trying to anyway, anywhere he would
wow.
let me. So
Mm-hmm.
I really grew up under his wing, and he's a big
Mm-hmm.
junkanoo guy. I got to watch him paste every
Oh,
Christmas.
wow.
He was, really, really committed to he was with Roots, and then he was one of the co-founders of the Colors Junket Group in the B category. And so,
Okay.
we just had kind of this great tradition of watching him paste,
Mm-hmm.
spent a lot of time with my grandparents,
Okay.
and we'd have Saturday dinners every single Saturday, my entire childhood,
Really?
every single Saturday. And it
Yeah.
was my dad, his sister, my grandmother, my grandaunt, and all of us kind of together. And so, I grew up with this, you don't appreciate it when you're young, right? Because I was like, I want to go to Crash, Club Rush, I want to go to
Right.
Atlantis. And you now that you're older, you're like, oh man, what I would do for those Saturdays again, right? Everyone by the dinner table.
Yes.
Um, great. So I'm big. Always been big on like rituals and be doing things together, and so that's my
Right.
childhood right there.
Yeah. So, would you say like things have come full circle because you now have a girl? And I mean, obviously, your husband, right? So, are you gonna be like, are you gonna say, "Oh, I hope she's a daddy's girl," or you'd rather you would understand if she becomes a daddy's girl because that's exactly what you were.
Yeah, I anticipate it, and you already
Yeah.
see who daddy is, so it's like I
Mm-hmm.
can't win. I'll never win.
Yeah,
you
for
know,
sure, for sure.
it is.
Especially if they say dada first.
Oh my gosh, and she already looks at him so enamored. I'm like, what? Do you like the
And
beard?
exactly, and they have you well, they have their dads like wrapped right around their finger. They
Exactly.
have them wrapped like automatically. They only have to beep and their, dads come running. It's like, what's going
Yeah,
on? Blah blah blah
yeah,
blah.
exactly. Yeah, so
Yeah, that's awesome.
moms get the hard work, and dad gets all the glory and smiles and happiness.
Yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
very true.
Mhm.
So tell us a little bit about Minka.
Yeah. So
I guess before we get into her story, but tell us a
mhm,
little bit about Minka.
Minka. So I mean, Minka is what I like to call the strongest human I know so far, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
As you know, she's a 25 weeker. She was born at 1 pound 2 ounces, and
Mm-hmm.
she is just a little fighter. Her name means strong. Her name is Minka
Yeah.
Maccabi, which
Mm-hmm.
means strong and fierce. And that's exactly what
Wow.
she's been from the beginning. So
Yeah.
she's really a force, a little
Wow.
force.
That's amazing. And to all of the moms watching this live or watching the replay, we know that typically a full term pregnancy goes 40 weeks. I think also typically, well, some moms get to 40 weeks, but otherwise I've heard OBGYN saying that they typically like anywhere between 37 to 40 weeks they would suggest a normal delivery or a c-section if that's what's happening, but that's the time frame, right, that they anticipate that baby's going to come forth.
Hmm.
And so let's dive a little bit into your story, because what we're going to talk about, I guess for the most part, and a few other things about you and Minka, is having a premature infant, which is something you and I discussed, and we talked about the fact that you're never quite prepared for that. Like it's a little underground world. Nobody tells you, hey, well, they do. They tell you, but in terms of the preparedness, you're often prepared to have a full term baby.
Yeah.
But in terms of having a preemie baby, nobody, they don't dive into the educational part of it. So, can we talk a little bit about that and your journey?
Sure. I mean, kind of to piggyback on what you said, I think
Mm-hmm.
maybe because I've this is my first child, or I've never really been too
Yeah.
involved in the whole pregnancy thing.
Yeah.
It was I didn't even know that children can exist even before 30 some weeks, right? Like if that was a thing.
Right.
I had a friend that told
Right.
me during the process, like, oh, if you make it to 24 weeks, you've made it to viability, right?
Wow.
As,
Yeah. Yeah.
as in if anything happens before 24 weeks, probably things won't work out, that kind of thing. So that's
Mm-hmm.
when I was like,
Mm-hmm.
okay, all right, I'm gonna try and make it to 24 weeks, right?
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
and but even then, so in the hospital, and I'm 24 weeks. You've got like hosts of doctors coming in saying, okay, but if you have the baby now, these are the laundry list of problems you're going to expect, and these are
Right.
this is the likelihood or the percentages that things will go wrong. Laundry
Mm-hmm.
list of things, right? They
Yeah.
said, okay, if you can hold it for another 2-3 weeks, things change drastically, things get a lot better. If
Right.
you can
Right.
make it to like 28 weeks, you've
Mm-hmm.
doubled your chances almost of things getting a little bit better. And of course, if you can get
Mm-hmm.
into 30 week, there's your child's going to survive pretty much. So,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm sitting there in the hospital, like, can I make it another 3-4 weeks, to the point where they said, okay, your chances are a bit more in terms of the success rate, right? And it didn't happen, right? It was like I got so around, I want to say like 20 weeks. I
Mm-hmm.
was fine. I felt like, okay, this pregnancy was a breeze, right? The only
Yeah.
problem that I had was I felt like I wanted some certain type of food, right? Where before
Okay.
I was eating avocados, I was doing the whole ginger. I mean, I was obsessed with ginger and lemon tea.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing everything right.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden I wanted fried chicken all the time. That's the only problem that I had, right?
Yeah.
So 20 weeks kind of hit. And then
Mm-hmm.
my legs are swelling a bit. I had to take off my wedding rings because my fingers were swelling a bit. And I was like, okay, this is
Yeah.
normal. I heard this is a thing, you know,
Yeah.
put my rings aside. And then I had a checkup, right? My usual checkup.
Mm-hmm.
Went to the office. They sat me down, took my pressure. Then I sat in with the doctor. He said, "Did you come here because your pressure's high?" I said, "No, I came here because this is,
My
you told me to come back.
routine.
You told me to
My
come back
routine
in 4
checkup.
weeks, and I'm here."
Yeah.
He's like, "No, your pressure's pretty high. You sure you don't feel anything?" I'm like, "I mean, I don't know. I feel. I mean, like I want fried chicken. That's what I want." Um,
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, interesting. Okay. So he's like, come back tomorrow. Let's take your pressure tomorrow, see what happens. Came back, was a little bit higher. He was like, eesh, I'm going to have to put you on some medication because it's a little bit scary, right? I was like,
Yeah.
scary? Like, fine. So they gave me medication, and they're really strict about it. They were like, this is not good, right? Yeah, try to limit your salts, food, and all that stuff. And I was like, okay, no problem.
Done.
So went on the medication, was taking my pressure, and then the medication wasn't working. After 2 hours, my
Wow.
pressure shot up again. Pressure shot up
Oh,
again, right?
wow.
By that time, I was maybe 22 weeks at the time. My ankles got so swollen
You mean
Um,
cankles?
my cankles got so swollen,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
it that's when I really got afraid, and I started like, oh, I don't know what's happening to me. Waterworks. I was
Mhm.
like, okay, they're scaring me about the pressure fit. My
Yeah.
legs are swollen as if I am about to give birth. Like I had a
Right.
40 week ankles. I kid you not, and I was just swelling. Right.
Mhm.
Another interesting thing was, which I didn't realize till, of course, at the point where they're like they have to deliver me.
Mhm.
I hadn't been able to like laugh for a few weeks. Like if I watched a
Wow.
comedy or anything, I was just winded. Like I would like cough uncontrollably if I laughed or anything.
Wow.
And I just thought that was a part of the package that is
Yeah.
pregnant.
Did you report that to your physician at all? Your OBGYN?
Um,
Do you
you know,
remember?
I may have. I think at
Mhm.
that point they were like, it could be anything, right?
Okay. Got it.
Um, they were like, okay, if you have the protein in the urine, then that's really what's gonna set us off.
That's the
If you already have
telltale.
the high
Okay.
pressure, they said the swelling could be anything. The swelling could be just a part of the package as well.
Mhm.
Um, so I literally went the weekend, and my legs, my ankles were already like huge. I was
Mhm.
crying, and then I took my pressure, and then my top number was like 200 over 100 and something. And
Wow.
so at that point, I was like, oh, I think I'm gonna die, based on what they're telling me. I think this is it. I was like
Oh
crying.
my goodness.
I was like, Quick was like, okay, you're running right out. So Monday,
I was about to say, like, what did he say?
he was like, you're running out now. Like, I think I'm gonna die. Um, so I think that was Monday. I decided to go back. They said they were going to do the
Yeah.
usual tests. At that point, too, they said, you know what? It's safer that we give you the shot, the steroids, right? Develop the baby's lungs. Try
And these are steroids too. Okay.
to
To
develop
develop the
the
baby's
baby's
lungs.
lungs, just in case things
Uh-huh.
go haywire. So
Yeah.
we got the shot, but that morning he was like, my protein's too high. He was like, you got to go straight to the hospital.
Okay.
There's like, don't even stop. Um, don't stop. Don't collect $200. Way past go.
Just go.
Hmm.
Yeah.
So I ended up there,
Wow.
and they were like, more than likely you're gonna have to give birth. And I'm literally 23 weeks at this point.
Which is that 5.5 months? Is
Hmm.
it?
About five
Yeah.
months, five and a half. At
Yeah.
five and a half.
Usually around 5 months, people are just announcing their pregnancy.
Exactly. I would. I mean,
Yeah.
my last pregnancy picture was literally like, woof. So,
Yeah.
um,
Like a marble.
exactly. Maybe she's
Mm-hmm.
not. Maybe she's not.
Yeah.
So yeah. So at that point, I went straight to the hospital, got admitted, and they were like, okay, you have a couple of choices here. You, you can stay here or you can go, right? So I ended
As
up.
in stay in Nassau.
Mhm.
Okay. Or be airlifted.
Yeah. So I was
Yeah.
airlifted out, maybe like a day later,
Mm-hmm.
and I was in the hospital over there. And so things just got progressively worse. At this point, I was
Wow.
blowing up like a hot potato. Everything was
You? As in your body.
everything was blowing up.
Oh my.
My thighs got so big that I have a permanent line down my down my thigh because I think it went back down to normal afterwards. But the stretch was big.
Yeah.
So
Wow.
like I have a permanent from the stretch, and so everything was
Wow.
blowing up. And
Yeah.
my breathing got progressively worse. Apparently, my lungs
Okay.
kept filling up with liquid, with fluid,
Yeah.
and they would give me something to reduce the fluid, but it would keep going back up again. At that
Mm-hmm.
point, I was like, I'm fine, I'm good, trying to like play it off, like, no, yeah, no need to have no baby here. We're perfect. We're gonna
And
get.
they're looking at
They were like,
they're
yeah,
like, no,
but
no, you're not.
your pressure is 180. Did you see that?
What
So
are you talking about?
I feel fine. No, I don't see stars. Stars.
It's so good that you can kid about this now. But
Like,
I'm sure during the time it was
yeah,
nuts.
yeah. During, I mean, it was rough, right? Because Kwaku was with me, and he, poor thing, he was like on a board, like a thing flat, like he, because it's COVID time, right? So you can't
Mm,
even go anywhere. Like they won't let you even leave the room. So he's sleeping on
right.
a board in the room with me. I'm on this
Oh my goodness.
uncomfortable like floppy bed that keeps going up and down.
Yeah.
I'm trying to find the perfect spot to put it in.
Oh
Completely,
my.
completely, just dreadful.
Wow.
And then,
Yeah.
so I was, so as soon as I hit 25 weeks,
Yeah.
right, 49 and 6 to 25 weeks, they like eight of them rush into the room and they were like, "We gotta go," and I'm like, "Oh,
No.
no, we're not going nowhere." And I'm looking at Kwaku, and Kwaku's like,
You gotta
what do
go,
you?
babe.
And I wanted to fight with them. I wanted to argue with them so bad. Like I just remember just wanting to be like, "Oh, this is my decision." No.
Yeah.
They were like, "But
I
we
don't.
can't give you any more of the stuff for your lungs. Like we can't do it." Like we
Yeah.
3 times that was enough. I was like, I wanted to argue with them so bad, so I just kind of sat there, and waterworks just came down. I didn't say anything. They were just wheeled me out and
They
was like,
just did
"Gotta
their,
go."
yeah. Wow.
And so I got wheeled out. I just remember, it was just a blur at that point because I was laying down
Mm-hmm.
and doing all a bunch of stuff and I couldn't, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
I think I was so in my mind about to leave the hospital that I wasn't even dressed in a gown when they took me to the operating room. I was actually dressed in my own clothes because I had taken off the gown, put on my own dress that Kwaku packed.
I mean, where were you going?
That no, that was in my head. I wasn't staying there. Like I wasn't. This was.
Oh,
I was on my way out of the hospital, like walking
okay.
out. So
Right.
they didn't realize I didn't even have a gown on until they got in the room and it was about to do the epidural or the thing on my back.
Yes,
That's when they
epidural.
realized. They were like, "Wait, she needs a
What
gown.
does
She
she
needs a
have on?
gown."
Yeah.
I no, I was like, "I'm not
Wow.
wearing no gown. No, I'm not here for that long." And so
I'm
so they had to take off my dress and all that stuff.
yeah, do their thing.
And then I was just shocked that they didn't put me to sleep. What is that?
They don't put you to sleep anymore, apparently. Now, this is what I learned. So, 14 years ago, I had Layla. I had an emergency C-section. They put
Mm-hmm.
me to sleep.
Oh,
Apparently, now they only put you to sleep unless it's maybe an emergency, like dire straits. And then I think somebody has to sign off and do all that stuff. But it has to be a very, you know, I don't know, tumultuous, life-threatening situation. I don't know. But apparently they can do these things. So fast forward to my toddler now. I felt tugging and this and
everything.
that and
Everything.
what's happening. So I was like, I don't think I said ow. I think I was like, ooh. And
Exactly.
Sherrod was like, you could feel that? And I'm like, no, but I can feel something
Everything else.
happening down there.
I felt every single move, every single tug. And then the
Yeah,
doctor has the nerve to come to me and she's like, because I have a cut from where I lost an ovary years ago.
right.
And
Mm-hmm.
she was like, I can't cut the same place. I'm going to cut a new cut. You okay with that?
Mom, it
Like,
just,
do I have a choice? Are you telling me this is
right?
a choice or we?
She told you because you can't say that she didn't tell you.
Uh, 'Cause I'm looking at her like I have a choice in the matter,
There
or
was, you know what it was? It was tugging. That's what it was.
yes,
I didn't
lots,
feel like
lots of.
what they were doing. It
Oh,
was
I
tugging.
feel like I felt like this, but it wasn't
Yeah,
painful. It was just like annoying,
correct.
crunk, crunk, crunk.
That's what it was.
You know what I mean?
That's what it was. It wasn't painful, but it was tugging and
Yes.
moving and I was like,
everything
what
going.
is happening?
And I'm looking at Kwaku and I'm like, are they done yet? Are they done? Can
Right,
this be done? And so they take her out. Of course, I can't see a thing, and they take her out,
right.
and
Hmm.
they so they take her out, and I just remember they were just waiting for her to cry to see if she was alive, right? They were just waiting, and I just remember
Right.
waiting, 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 and maybe 10 seconds later, all you hear is, and they're like, "Oh, she's out! She's alive!" I'm like, "What was that?" They're like, "Yeah, she just cried." And that's all you hear. And then of course they don't let you see her because she has to be whisked
No.
away to the NICU.
Right, right.
And so yeah, so they put her in the incubator. They bagged her up in a plastic
Yeah.
bag, and then they sent
Like
her.
her entire body.
Her entire body went into a plastic bag. Apparently, that's the best way to keep them warm because they don't have
Yeah.
the ability to keep themselves warm at that point, right?
Right,
So they
right,
put
right.
them in a plastic bag, and yeah, and then they whisked her away as I waited for them to finish doing whatever they were doing. Um,
That part.
exactly. And so
Hmm.
um, forward now back to the hospital room. They were like, "Well, you can't see her till your pressure goes down. Your pressure's not gone down." And I was like,
Is
you
that
know,
an incentive to help your pressure go down?
I don't know.
Or
Like I had
yeah,
control. They were like, "Did you have
right.
pre-existing pressure?" I was like, "I've never had pressure in my life. I don't." Of course
No,
not.
no.
But yeah, so I had to wait till my pressure went down in order to see her. But at that point, I was like, I don't want to see her. I am too traumatized to see her. I don't think I can mentally see her. That I
Yeah,
like I couldn't possibly see something so small struggling to survive, and
yeah.
that's what it was. And I was like, Kwiku, I don't want to. I don't like.
Wow.
I uncontrollably cried for the next 2 weeks. I every time I saw her, I cried. Every time I thought about it, I cried. I could not stop crying, and I was like, I don't want to see her. I don't want to touch her. I don't want to. I don't even want to be in this position. So I just, and
Yeah,
he was like, but that's your daughter. And I was like, I get it.
yeah.
But I feel like I just inflicted so much pain on her. She wouldn't even want me.
Right.
That's,
As in, I caused it. I caused
yeah,
this.
I'm the problem here. So she won't mind if she doesn't see me because I am the problem here. Like she was on ventilator. She was literally the size of she was this big. She was one of the smallest babies, and I mean, she was the smallest baby in the NICU for at least a month and a half. I don't know why or how, you know. And so I
Wow.
couldn't get myself to stop crying or have some sort of like, oh, my baby. I was like, no,
Yeah.
I am so traumatized by this. I don't want just seeing her just caused more trauma than it did not. So I just went through this
Wow.
period where I was in denial or I was neglecting the whole situation because I was like,
Hmm.
I was too traumatized by it, and not to mention I
Yeah.
was huge. I was,
Wow.
I mean,
Because I mean, normally, like, you don't go right back to normal size after, or your pre-baby weight, I should say. You don't go right back there anyway,
no,
right?
no.
So I imagine you
I
had
was 10 times
pre-eclampsia.
bigger.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had preeclampsia. I was
Uh-huh.
10 times bigger than my normal self. Like I was like a, I
You
don't know.
was a solid mama.
I was, I was like,
Wow. How much
you
would
could
you say
actually,
you weighed?
uh, I guess around 180, which for me, where
Okay.
I'm usually 140, you know,
Okay. Okay.
all right. You could hold my love handles like with a full grip, you know, and poor Quaku, he was worried. He was like, oh, is this you now?
What?
Is this you now?
Anybody that knows Kwaku who's watching this, what did he say? Is this you?
Is this you now? Uh,
Oh,
I guess I could love you.
right? It's more of me to love.
Yes, we'll have to work it out, babe. I mean, you could run when you get better, or you know. We thought it was it. Like we thought this was my size. Now we were like trying to justify how we are gonna
Oh,
get rid of this size, after all of
right.
this. But
Oh
anyway, so
my goodness.
so I was left with
For
this
better or worse?
huge, like swelling, um, and yeah, and then just this baby that I was like, or this little thing that we didn't know that was going to survive. I mean, I think
Right.
the first or second day, the doctors had already told us her intestines weren't aligned properly. Her, she had a horrible first week. Like she just had like everything that could go wrong felt like it went wrong that week. She
Right.
was on, she was on something called a PIC line, which went through, was an IV that would deliver what the umbilical cord would deliver. And that
Okay.
had to be moved around. So it started at the umbilical cord, in her on her belly button, and it moved to her
Mhm.
arm, and then so there she was on that
Wow.
life support. She didn't eat for maybe the first. I mean, she didn't really. They couldn't feed her for a long time, right? Because they couldn't. They had to figure out her everything,
How?
like
Yeah.
her makeup, Um, so it was just extremely different. It was so
Wow.
traumatizing. I can't even
Oh
stress the
my.
trauma, because I mean, you also, because you had to sit down with a lot of the doctors, or the
Neonatologist.
psychologists and everyone, and they were, okay,
Yeah.
these are the problems that you're probably going to face. These are the issues
Mhm.
that she's probably going to have. Are you
Mhm.
prepared to deal with this, and do you need help? And so it was a lot of like that in the beginning too. You just felt bombarded by, okay, this is probably going to be the problem. And
Yeah.
and what made it worse is that she was in a room and there were twins like right opposite her. The twins
Mhm.
were only about a week and a half older than her, and they were 3 times her size
Oh,
the whole time. Like each week go by,
yeah.
you look at them and they're like, you look at her, you're like, "Whew, wow, like
Yeah.
why isn't she growing?" I'm asking the doctors, why isn't she growing? Is she a midget? Is that the
Yeah.
problem? And they're
Mhm.
like, I don't think she's a midget. No. I'm like,
Yeah.
well, why
Yeah.
isn't she growing this, like these other babies in the room? Like the other babies would move out of the room into a better room,
Right?
not better room, but a
Mhm.
less critical room. And she was there,
Yes.
she would stay. She became
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
familiar with that room, and she just stayed there because she was so small for so long. And so
Wow.
that was
But
also,
isn't that a true testament to you can't look at your child, and I mean you'll learn this, that you can't look at your child and measure. Even now, like I have a 14-year-old, and you can't compare. Not that you should, but you can compare one child's progress to the next. Like
yeah,
it would be bad for me to compare what Riley's doing now to what Layla did then, and then for me to say it
yeah,
or to speak to it.
exactly.
You know what I mean?
And they told me
So,
that all the time. It was so difficult, right? Because you're already dealing with
hmm,
a rough situation, and
yeah,
you're looking for the light at the end of the tunnel, right?
hmm,
During that
hmm,
time, all you need is a light at the end of the tunnel to feel like you're not
yeah,
gasping for air, or in this dark deep hole. And I didn't
hmm,
have it. I couldn't find it, right? I
yeah,
just kept being bombarded with problems, which they have to tell you, right? They have to disclose that
hmm.
this
They
is
have
going
to,
to be.
yeah.
And so
Hmm.
I cut everyone off. I came off of Instagram. I had stopped answering people. I fell into this
You
deep dark
couldn't.
hole. I just
Yeah.
didn't know how to handle the situation at all.
Wow. 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 And how did you, if we stick a pin right there, how would you say that you got out of that? Because I want to say that there are moms who are moms of preemies who are in a similar situation. There are women who know moms who are in the situation, or pregnant women who are watching the replay or watching the live. um, who unexpectedly got into this situation, be who will probably be referred to, hey guys, I saw this interview with Janay Symonette, and she, she's the mom of a premature infant or a preemie, or a micro preemie, and she spoke to it, and this could help you because yours may not be the same, but it's a similar type situation. How would you say you got up out of that place where you just couldn't deal?
Well, um, I mean, I have to give it all to Kweku, right? He was there the entire time, and he was the light, right? He
Hmm.
spoke positivity into her, right? He was like,
Right.
I don't care about. I mean, he's not supposed to say this, but he's like, I don't care about how you
Yeah.
feel, but this is my child, and I have to love
Yeah.
her, and I have to support
Hmm.
her, regardless of how she's going to turn out, right? And he kept saying that. He's like, this is us, and we have, I mean, this is us, right? And I
Yeah.
think eventually I started to catch on. I was like, okay, okay, after the waterworks, I've just
Yeah.
got to get myself together and realize that, the more I educate myself, the more I accept what the problems could be, I could find
Yeah.
solutions to them, and I can start to heal through education and through,
Hmm.
planning out what could possibly be the scenarios, at least
Yeah.
what it could be and how I can get around that, right? And so
Hmm.
I think eventually, um, and I say it all the time, I had to grieve, right? I had to go through that
Hmm.
grieving period. There's I
Yeah.
would never
There's
recommend.
no way around it.
Yeah, there's no way around it, and I think do it. Um, Sounds bad. Cut
Yeah.
yourself, hit yourself, do what you have to do to grieve, um, and then pick yourself up out of that situation, and move on to the next step,
Yeah.
which is healing, right?
Yeah. And it sounds like your just the environment that you were in was very supportive in the fact that yes, they are doctors, yes, they are neonatologists, yes, they are nurses, etc., support staff or support team, but they offered some counsel to you as well as a couple and as an individual.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
postpartum is real, and
Is
so
already real.
it's super real. So I mean,
Yeah.
I think even if you have a normal term baby, it's
Mhm.
the same.
Mhm.
You need that counsel
Yeah.
and support,
Mhm.
regardless. So
Yeah.
they do have it there ready and available, and people to try to talk you through what
Right.
is going to happen over the next. For us, that was 3.5 months that she was early. So I mean, we had
Wow.
to prepare to be in the hospital every single day for the next 3.5 months
Yeah.
at least. And
Yeah.
if she had
And
any
you
additional,
couldn't leave
no, we
at
couldn't.
no point. I
Um,
mean, I assume, of course, you got better, but
yeah, no, yeah. Oh, in the hospital? No. So I
yeah,
eventually got discharged. We were blessed enough that the hospital had such a program that they gave us housing because they knew we'd be here.
that's
We
amazing.
have to be around the hospital for so long. They actually gave us housing,
Yeah.
like
Wow.
next door to the hospital. So for us, it was a walk
Okay.
next door to the
Right.
hospital. Mhm.
Okay. Okay. Wow. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so Minka was in the hospital for 3 months. I think you gave us the exact amount of days.
108 days.
108 days.
Mhm.
I can't imagine. I can't imagine that. And you and I chatted about just in general, like you are not prepared. Everybody talks about a full term baby, or the thought anyway, because we always think best case scenario.
Mhm.
So for expecting moms, what would you suggest um in terms of like preparation just for any case scenario, worst case scenario? What would you suggest they do in terms of preparation for the worst case scenario?
I don't know how you would
Not
really.
that you want to think that way.
Yeah, and I mean, it's going to be a hit in the face regardless of how you kind of craft it or touch it, or I think that
Mm-hmm.
um, the best thing to do is to be open minded and flexible, right?
Mm-hmm.
Understand that, pregnancy in and of itself is a medical condition, if I may, you know,
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
and so you've got to be on top of your appointments and check in as much as you can with your doctors
Yeah.
and other medical professionals if you have access to them, and just
Mm-hmm.
know what options are out there.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. So I guess we've talked about Minka. Gosh, we've talked about her in great detail. How's Minka now? Because you guys are home now, yes?
We are home now. Yep.
By the time this airs, you'll be home.
Hmm.
How is she doing now? We've
Uh,
seen a beautiful photo, or we will, in your parenting tips, and she's such a beautiful little one.
mhm.
How's she doing, and how's it been the postpartum, or I forgot what the term is that you call it. Anyway, her being home in her environment. How's it been?
Yeah, I mean, there are so yeah, when you leave the hospital, in her particular case, by the way, she's I mean, she's a fighter, she's a warrior, right?
Mm-hmm.
So she's still
Mm-hmm.
fighting on. And
Yeah.
in her particular case, because she was so small, she has to be on extra calories. So one of the things you had to give up was that beautiful thought of, oh, I'm going to breastfeed. Not that it was a beautiful thought for me in the beginning, but
Yeah.
you always kind of like, okay, I'm going to try to breastfeed, whereas I didn't have that opportunity. She went kind of in the process of trying to get her out. She was being fed with a tube down her throat for the longest, and then through her nose,
Mm-hmm.
and then they had to teach her how to breathe, suck, swallow. That was a
Mm-hmm.
process, right? So she had to go straight to bottle, and
Okay.
in addition to bottle, she couldn't just take my breast milk. She has to take a formula with extra calories to ensure growth,
Okay.
right?
Yeah.
So um so that was kind of one of the things that you just have to be prepared for, that it won't be, you'd have to kind of go through that and do that, because people may be like,
Yeah.
oh, you're not breastfeeding. Well, not really. I mean, I am pumping a lot.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
got 3 months worth of milk in the freezer from.
Oh my goodness. That is gold. Okay.
Hmm. But she
Yeah.
still has to be on formula in order to ensure. I mean, she's literally the size of a newborn, right?
Yeah.
At 5 months.
Mm-hmm.
So
Mm-hmm.
she has to kind of get some catch up growth in there. Um,
Yeah. No, that's
so
great.
so that's kind of one of the caveats of kind of bringing her home and trying to juggle, between trying to give her breast milk but making sure she gets enough of the calories that she needs to grow as good as possible.
Yeah.
Um,
Mm-hmm.
and then outside of that, you've got your usual preemie condition. She had something called ROP, which is a prematurity of the eyes. She got
Okay.
injections in her eyes back in June, and those injections
Mm-hmm.
were to slow the growth of bad growing vessels. Because of course, when you're born so early, you weren't supposed to see yet, or you see a dark
Okay.
place, but she
Right.
didn't have that opportunity. So the blood vessels had to grow faster than would be in the womb, so they
Yeah.
grew a little bit too fast and do. So
Mm-hmm.
still have the struggle of having to see her wail when she gets her eyes checked, because they have to go in the
Oh.
back and do this whole process,
Yeah. Yeah.
and, um also having to learn about stuff like the RSV, which is a respiratory influenza that preemies are susceptible to, and they have to get a
Mm-hmm.
special vaccine for. And if because of all of the respiratory support she was on, and the rest, she had chronic lung disease, or she has chronic lung
Okay.
disease. So we just have
Mm-hmm.
to be super careful of what we use around us. Absolutely, of
Yeah.
course, absolutely, no one can smoke even close by. So
Right.
there's just these extra considerations that could be for a
Right.
term baby might be, a problem. For a
Something.
preemie,
Right.
it is a guaranteed sentence back into the NICU or the PQ.
Yeah. Well, the good thing is, I always say, like, out of the pandemic, we definitely learned how to do video calling. So there's always that. You can communicate with us. You want to see Minka today? I'll give you a ring when she's available.
Mhm. Well, it's funny
and
because
and I'm
she had an
mhm,
appointment with her pulmonologist, and they had
mhm.
to do a virtual appointment before, and they were like, "Let's see her
Uh-huh.
chest, let's see her breathe," and
And
you're
you're
like,
like,
"Can you see her chest?"
wow. Oh my goodness. Well, I mean, like I said, I mean, COVID taught us to be, if we want to see each other, if we want to talk, like, look at us.
Yeah, exactly.
We're having a whole conversation. I haven't seen you in months.
In months, yes,
Yeah, and so now we can do it.
exactly. You're
No,
just
but I'm so happy to hear that she is doing so much better, that she's progressing well, that you have since, almost been resurrected, because I imagine that, I mean, we're in a pandemic, right? And then on top of that, you have a baby during COVID, and then to have a 25 weeker, and all of the challenges that come along with that. Like, you are a warrior. We call Minka a fighter, but you are a warrior, she's a warrior, you're a fighter, she's a fighter. Like,
hmm
I mean, you know what they say, chip don't fall far from the block.
that's what they say. I mean,
So
she
that's amazing.
she wants to be here for some reason, so we let
For
her.
sure. For sure. And kudos to Dad, who has been like, he's been such a great support. And I'm sure you have an entire village, because you cannot do this by yourself. I promise you.
Mhm.
You cannot. Absolutely. Um, so we we talked a lot about Minka again. Do you would you say you knew when you wanted to be a mom? Because you guys, there was a little while before you guys, I mean, you enjoyed your marriage, obviously, or you still enjoy it, but you took a minute before you decided to dive into or become a part of the Mile High Club. Would
Mhm.
you say that you knew when you wanted to become a mom?
Not immediately. I think
Mm-hmm.
it was one of those things where, well, funny, because so my mom had girls. My
Mm-hmm.
sister had a girl, and I was like, darn, I'm gonna have a girl. Do I really want a girl? I just felt it in
Yeah.
my spirit that I was gonna have a
Yeah.
girl, right? Because we just have
Mm-hmm.
this long history. My dad's sister has all girls. We're like a family of just girls,
Wow.
and I was like, oh man.
Wow.
Um, so, I went through that in my head, like, oh boy, a girl mom,
Mm-hmm.
do I want a me? This is a toughie.
If you're just joining us, or if you're watching the replay, you would know that we actually chatted a lot about Minka. We chatted about Janae's journey, what it's been like, just so much that she's championed and she's dealt with. She's been such a warrior. Janay, Minka, and Kwaku, they have gotten through 108 days of being in the NICU. Kudos to you guys, and I'm so happy that Minka is now finally home.
It's free.
Yes, it's so great to have you as I mean, it's an honor to be my first guest for season 3 of Let's Chat with Tanya Lightborn. So welcome again.
So excited to be a part of the premiere.
Yeah, I mean, you're new to motherhood. Who would have thought that you would have a 25 weeker? I mean, life comes at you fast, eh?
Yeah, who even knew it existed?
That that part, that
That
part.
people go
W-
through this every day.
I know, and you hear so little about it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So earlier you gave our guests some advice on how to handle just dealing with not only postpartum, but dealing with the challenges that come along with a preemie baby. And so, you know, prior to the season starting, I said, in a post or two or three that, this season is less about me and more about our guests and what they're sharing because they're sharing their stories, which is a part of their lives. And I want, if nothing else, that it touches somebody because somebody needs to hear your story. Because if we keep it to ourselves, then like what's the point, you know? And so thank you for sharing your story. So let's talk a little bit about you. What are you passionate about?
So what am I passionate about? Ooh, what a loaded question. Um, I think uh, should I say the pageant girl side of me? Is that what you want? Or
Were you a pageant girl?
uh, in a past life, I'm sure I was. Um,
Wow.
but yeah, I think that today, um, what am I really passionate about?
Mm-hmm.
Everything, right? The world. But you know, I think to the core, I've kind of always been about financial self sufficiency,
Yeah.
and teaching kind of, teaching that, or echoing a lot of the, generational wealth, build generational wealth, build your own wealth, that type of thing. And so it's kind of cool that I'm actually, I work kind of in that, fintech, giving, empowering people to build their own wealth, and that's kind of where I've
Yeah.
always kind of come from, in a different manner, in like a pageant girl manner. But now I get
Yeah.
to do that in my everyday and figure out like how to build technology that's going to empower businesses, to empower people to manage their wealth a little bit better, or even their 2 cents to rub together a little bit better, which is kind of cool. I'm passionate about my life with Kweku. I think he balances me because I'm not the most forthcoming and friendly person, I've been told, or I come off kind of weird. So he
Mm-hmm.
balances me a lot. So I really like our time together. I'm very passionate about it. He's not
Yeah.
as passionate as I am about it, but he's got to roll with it. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
and then it's cool that we've got this new kind of body involved, that can, come on adventures with us and, have fun and go to the beach and all these great things. So we'll see
Yeah.
how that pans out in a few years.
Yeah. And she's clearly proven that she's in charge.
Oh, yeah, she
Yeah.
is 100%. She's not so demanding, luckily,
Mm-hmm.
but
Yet.
she's definitely in charge. Not yet. Mm-mm.
Yeah. Yeah. Amazing. And because Quaker was the social butterfly, yeah? And
Yes.
he's the talker.
Yep. I
He's the
just get to
talker and you're the speaker.
I get to sit. No, I get to sit and just hush up, and just be
Wow.
like, yeah, hmm, that's
Yeah.
good.
Mhm.
That sounds right.
So, speaking of couples, how important do you think it is for couples to have me time?
Yeah, I mean, we're the champions for me time. I think it keeps us uh, it keeps us fun,
Hmm.
and um, we are really big at enjoying our life and doing things, going out. We love to
Hmm.
eat, so we will eat ourselves into an abyss, and
Yeah.
so I think that's super important to just stay grounded, because these nights can get well. They say the what is it? The days are long and the years are
But the
short.
yes, right? Yes, yes,
These days get
yes. The
super
days are
long,
long
so
for sure.
we need that little break.
Yeah, I remember we prayed. We were like, Lord, just let us get to 6 months. We just want her to get to 6 months. And then, we'll see like a light, that light that you talked about in part one.
Yep,
Um, and then we blinked and she was a year old. And
well,
then we blinked and she was two, and now she's going to be three in December.
that's crazy.
Like it happens for all the kids, you
Hmm.
know, they're, they grow up so fast. Like
I
I think every
can't
other
wait.
day I send Layla a photo of her as a little one. And she's
Mm-hmm.
probably like, oh my God, was that me?
All right. I'm just like, I can't, my excitement is I can't wait to get over the burping phase. Oh my goodness, my life would change.
Like,
I don't even care if I have to wake up and feed her at night, as long as I don't have to burp at the end.
oh my goodness, that's amazing. That's awesome though. You guys got, and have you been able, would you say that you guys bonded, or your bond has grown substantially since Minka's birth?
Yeah, I think once we got discharged from the hospital, like I
Mm-hmm.
said, we were blessed enough that the hospital gave us housing. When I
Yeah.
say housing, I mean a room with a bed and a big surgical like bathroom,
Wow.
and that's it. That's all we had
Wow.
for 3.5 months, right? So we got to, we we got to be very, very close, and we would just wake up each day. We'd work. We'd have our routine,
Yeah.
go see Minka. It
Mm-hmm.
was, it was a little difficult because with COVID, things
Yes.
kept changing. Right, one
Okay.
day both of us could go in and see the baby. The next day, like we'd have to take turns.
Oh wow.
And
Mm-hmm.
so it just made things a little bit difficult when you had to go and the other person couldn't go, and you just be like,
Yeah.
that's pretty rough. But
Yeah, I'm
yeah,
sure.
but overall, I think we got to really, um, reflect on the experience.
Mm-hmm.
We went through this together. It was
Okay.
hard, and
Yeah.
so we had to find some sort of joy and solace in that.
Mm-hmm. And on top of everything else, like you came out stronger because of it.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you ask him. I don't know. I say yeah.
I think so. I think you guys are both fighters, and he
He
was,
might say
you
something
know,
different, so let me just yeah.
ah, I mean, he seems like the super supporter. Like, you know, he held
Yeah.
it down.
Now I'm mad because he goes to work every day. I'm like, why? Why do you go?
Oh my goodness.
He's like, I have.
Wow.
But we're not
Yeah.
used to that, right? We just spent like all this time
You were
together,
like
and I'm
this.
like, why are you going to work? Why
Oh
aren't you
my
with
goodness.
me? Having separation anxiety.
Right, right. Oh my goodness. Um, so let's pivot a little bit. Hmm. Is there a moment that radically changed the way you saw the world? I outside of Minka.
Outside of Minka,
Hmm.
is there a moment where, say that again, where I
Is there
radically,
is there a moment or event that radically changed the way you saw the world? Was
ooh,
it COVID? Because
outside of
I mean,
motherhood? That's a hard one, because that
yeah.
really,
Oh wow, it was motherhood for sure. Eh?
yeah, it has to be. I mean, like seeing all of those babies um, in the NICU is, I mean, that's life changing, right? Like
Yeah.
these are God's miracles just in
Yeah.
there, and you have
Mhm.
people that you know like to say, you know, God, if God, maybe God didn't want this or maybe God didn't want that, but you literally see His miracles in there fighting,
Mhm.
So I, I don't think there's anything else in my mind right today, anyway, in
Yeah.
this very
Mhm.
moment,
Yeah.
that I can say was more
More
radical than
radical.
that.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Was there something your parents did when you were a kid that you swore you'd never do yourself?
Oh, everything, Lord. Um, that I do myself today now.
Yeah. So, for example, I don't want to give you any examples that you swore
Um,
you'd never do. Like when you grew up, you swore you'd be like, I would never do that with my child as a child, having kids.
um,
Like either they did it to you or you just saw it and you were like, uh-uh, I
That's a
would never
good
do
one.
that.
Because there's so many places I can draw from, but it's such a funny question to me.
I know, I know. I just want to preempt this by saying I sent Janae these questions.
This is a funny one to me. um, I think that let's see. So the I guess because it's so like the thing I'm gonna say is gonna be so corny. It's like
Yeah.
so my mom does this little motion where she just shakes, you know, like she just
Uh-huh.
like she just moves her legs, and she does it everything. I don't know if it was like it's a calming thing when she was a child, but she'll
Yeah.
sit down and she'll just like move, right? So for a baby, it's probably really calming because you're like doing
Because
this.
she's moving all the time. Yeah.
Exactly. And I do that. And I'm like, oh, when she did it, I was
Really?
like, yeah, no, I'll be sitting down and I'll just be like, sugar, 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 sugar,
So it's
sugar.
like a happy day. You know when you're hungry and then you finally get to eat and you're just like,
And no, it's not it's like it's almost like something that would calm you. Like, you just it's almost like white
ah,
noise for your for but
yeah,
moving
for
of
your
what
body.
yeah, moving of your body. But it's like it could possibly put you to sleep, or it could you just shaking your legs until you like done. It's really weird. I'd have to
Wow.
like show you a video one day of what that means, but
And
just
she
imagine.
and she still does it to this day.
Oh, every time she sits down, she's just like shimmy, 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 and I'm
That
like,
looks like dancing to me, but
yeah, I'm being dramatic, but um, it's something like that.
Wow. Okay. What's the most trouble you ever got in?
The most trouble I've ever gotten.
Hmm.
Oh.
Gotten
um,
into?
gotten into.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, probably. There's so many again.
I noticed. Did you see that in our Instagram caption? We called you a free spirit.
Well, yeah, no, I'm sorry.
Just
I'm
saying.
very off the cuff. I don't like to prepare because I like things to
And
be
that's okay.
spontaneous.
Yes.
As you could probably see from my stew days, I'm pretty sure
And
they got.
and that's
I'm pretty sure they were very upset at me many days, but
that
they
is so
liked it.
funny. I'm
Um,
like, damn it, what did she say again?
I know,
Did she
like
say that?
did she plan that? No.
Oh
Um,
my goodness.
but I oh, the most trouble. So we must have gotten in late one night.
Hmm.
And Kweku was too drunk to drive home, so he slept in the living room of my parents' place. Oh my gosh, never heard the end of it till I was out of there. I was, but I mean I was older, but it's the
Yeah,
principle of the matter.
it's the principle. Because you'd probably say the same thing when
Of
Minka,
course,
if
of course,
if Minka does it. Like, how dare you?
of course, of course.
How
Even
dare you
though,
guys
yeah,
disrespect the house?
exactly, yeah. But he,
And this is the
but
man who
you,
wants this is the man who wants to marry my daughter.
we weren't there yet, so it was very questionable.
That's even worse.
I know.
Oh my goodness.
But luckily, we got where we are today.
Yeah, right? He's your person. You just can't make this stuff up.
Yeah, exactly.
I know. What has your biggest takeaway been from parenting so far?
Oh man, is every cry they need to eat? I'm not too sure.
Oh,
Is every
boy.
cry? I'm sure it can't be.
No. There's my diaper needs to change. There's I'm tired
Yes.
because they fight sleep.
Yes.
Okay. So there's my diaper needs to change. There's I'm tired. There's I'm hungry, of course.
Right. Yes.
There's I
Other pain.
yeah.
Yes.
There's I want to be near you.
Ooh, I don't know
I
if you
just want
got
to be
there
near
yet.
you. Yeah. There's I'm in pain, which is obvious, right?
Yeah.
I
Mm-hmm.
mean, one of the obvious ones. There's I just want to be held. I mean, and then there's no reason.
But at her age, she's the equivalent of like a month and a half or so.
Mm-hmm.
So it should be purposeful, but
It should be.
every time she cries, I feel like I get thrown that she's hungry, and I'm like, it can't always be
No,
that
no,
100%. So that's my learning of the week. Like, I'm gonna learn every single cry to a T,
yeah,
so that
yeah,
we don't keep throwing this hunger business out.
yeah. And guess what? You're gonna get it because she was a part of you, right? It's almost innate. I don't know how better to explain it,
Yeah, yeah.
but it's innate. You will be able to tell Kwaku, no, 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 she's not hungry. She just wants to be cuddled.
Kwaku
No,
has
no,
more.
she's
Kwaku has more of the innate ability than me, but so he knows
because he
she's not hungry. So we're always on the same accord. Everyone else just throws the hunger, and I'm just like,
yeah. And then that, right? About that. We're gonna take what people say with a grain of salt.
for sure,
Unpopular opinion.
for sure.
Because everybody knows what's best for the baby.
Hmm. I'm sure.
You don't. Everybody else does.
I'm sure I don't, but you know,
Yeah,
we gotta we're gonna learn together.
correct. There's that learning curve. One of the last things I want to ask you is how do you relax? What's your thing?
My thing,
What's your thing? How do you relax? Is it wine? Is it the spa? Is it going outside?
yeah, it's eating and whining. You know,
Eating and whining.
eating
Yeah.
and whining. Yes,
Mm-hmm.
that is my like. Okay, the day's gone this way. Um, we're gonna, have some nice food and drink some wine.
Yeah. Yeah. And have you been able to do a lot of that since Minka's made her debut?
Um, yeah, I mean, Kwaku and I make it a point to ensure that we, at least go out a few times a week and
Yeah.
de-stress and have a nice meal. And especially when we lived in a room for the last, 3 months or so, because
Yeah.
we didn't have a kitchen. We had no way of like getting any type of
Right.
food. So, we had to make it a point to, okay, we
We
tried.
gotta eat.
They gave us a fridge, but the fridge was only for breast milk. Like we weren't allowed to put food in there. Now, of course, we put food in there, but
Of
we
course.
weren't allowed to. And so, we tried the meal plan thing, and that was a fail because there was a microwave in like the hallway somewhere,
Wow.
So
Wow.
yeah, so we got to de-stress a little bit.
Wow. Okay. And lastly, at this age, what do you appreciate most about your body?
My body,
Mm-hmm.
that it was able to lose all of that swelling. It was funny because I had Minka on Sunday, and
Mm-hmm.
I was in meetings on Monday, on my computer. I was in complete denial. When I say complete denial, I acted like nothing had happened. So I'd gone in the same meetings I had scheduled for the week. I was in them. I didn't stop working, and
What? Like obviously by Zoom.
yeah, on
Yeah.
the computer.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember distinctly, I was in this meeting, and the doctors didn't care. They would come in and just start talking to me about health issues and all that stuff. So the doctor comes in, she goes, "You don't look like a chipmunk anymore." In the meeting, I was like, mute, mute. you know? Oh my god, she
Oh
was
my
like, I
goodness.
didn't even realize at that point that they were calling me chipmunk because I was like, you know. So the
Wow. Alvin? Did
Alvin,
you
yeah.
look more like Alvin?
I gotta ask them which chipmunk. She was like, "You don't look like a chipmunk anymore." I was like,
Alvin, Simon, and Theodore.
"Yeah, I gotta ask them which chipmunk I was." Or Quick, who probably knows. He could probably tell me which chipmunk I look like. But it was that
Yeah.
serious. So to have
Wow.
come from that, and I must give my body kudos. Although I have all of the scars
To
to
prove.
all the war wounds. But
Yeah.
yeah,
Amazing.
it's I mean, women are incredible to have to
Our
go through.
bodies do incredible things.
Hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it's been a pleasure. amongst all the kinks that we had during this broadcast. I would have appreciated going through this with nobody else. I mean, we even called tech support. This was fun. I'm
Husbands
so
doing what they
happy.
do.
Mhm. Sorry.
Husbands doing what they do.
Okay. All right. It was so great having you, Janae. We are super happy that you guys are home with Minka, that she's made her debut, that she's here to stay. She's such a warrior, such a fighter, and so are you. And Kwaku for being an amazing support, as well as your village, because I'm sure that you wouldn't have gotten through this without them.
Yeah, I'm gonna get in
You
trouble
know,
now if my mom watches this and
I
relives
know.
the
No, she's gonna watch it. You know that.
she
I
relived
had
like I remember that. I was angry.
right, right. And did she call my name? Did she thank me? Did she even mention me?
Oh yeah, I have to. My no, I yeah. Let me shout out my mommy because she has been like a
Oh,
godsend through this entire process. Like she's
yeah.
just taken the bull by the horns and has been like,
Hmm.
okay. I mean, from literally before we even started this process, straight through,
Yeah.
she's been there through it all. So
Wow, amazing.
she's been cool.
Yeah, amazing. She's been cool. I can't wait for her to watch this to
I'm
give her
still
evaluation.
I'm still like the cool kid, so I gotta be like,
Right.
she's cool.
She's
Like
cool. She alright.
I can't big her up too much.
Right, 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 right. Kudos to mom. Kudos to sis. Kudos to everybody that's been your village. I know that everybody's been rooting for you guys. Oh my goodness. I mean, posts are just that. They're posts. But if that's any indication of the support and the love and the outpouring, the Sign Island team, like just everybody that's been in your corner, prayers, just church, everybody,
Oh yeah,
you know.
everyone's prayers really worked.
Yeah, yeah. It's so amazing to see you guys. Back on the rock. We know we won't see you for a minute, for a couple minutes, but it's great to know that we can check in with you guys virtually, of course, you know, whether it's messages, video calls, etc., etc. It's great that you guys are back home with your bundle of joy.
We are. And thank you for
Yeah.
having me.
Of course, of course. I wouldn't have it any other way. So thank you for joining us. This live session will air tomorrow, which is October 1st, on YouTube, on our YouTube page as well as our Facebook page. The replay will be available there as well. So like and share, and any questions that you have for me or Janae, we'll be around. We're one message away. So thank you so much, Janae. Um, Take care, everybody.
Bye.
See you guys later. Bye.